For as long as I can remember, Fujifilm has worn the crown in the JPG world. It's almost become a law of photography. If you want great images straight out of camera, you buy a Fuji. The entire film recipe workflow, this vibrant online culture of sharing settings to mimic old film stocks, is undeniably one of the brand's most powerful selling points. It's a compelling ecosystem. However, in the last few years, a serious challenger has entered the ring. Lumix, of all brands, has brought the fight directly to Fuji's doorstep, and their weapon is the real-time LUT. Today, I'm diving deep into the pros and cons of both systems, and I'll explain why I genuinely believe the old era is coming to an end. Before we get into the weeds of that battle, let me quickly justify why any of us should even care about straight-out-of-camera JPGs in 2025. I am someone who lives with a camera in my hand. I try to take photos literally every single day. If I were forced to tether every single image I capture to a lengthy editing process before it could be shared online, I would simply stop sharing things. The friction would be too great. Most of my photos would languish on a hard drive and seen. Of course, when I'm shooting for a client, it's a different story. For professional work, shooting RAW is non-negotiable. You need that absolute maximum control over the final deliverable. But what about the other 99% of my life? When I'm just snapping away on a day out with friends, or capturing a fleeting moment on the street, a full-blown RAW workflow is complete and utter overkill. I'll be perfectly honest with you, editing is my least favorite part of the photographic process. It's a chore. So, for years, I have been on a quest to find ways to cut corners, save time, and get a beautiful, finished image right from the camera. A few years ago, it was this exact desire to shoot and share quickly that led me right into the arms of Fujifilm. I owned an X-T3 and an X10F for quite some time, and I was fully embedded in that world. But even back then, I always felt the film recipe workflow was fundamentally flawed. And now, even in 2025, having spent the last few weeks testing the brand new X-E5 alongside my trusty Lumix S9, I still feel the exact same way. From a pure workflow standpoint, there is a clear and definite winner. Let's break down the Fuji Film recipe workflow for anyone who hasn't used one of their cameras. It starts with you selecting a base film simulation, like Classic Chrome or Velvia. From there, you dive into the menus to dial in a whole host. After a certain point, the Fuji workflow starts to feel less like creative photography and more like data entry. And then, once you've spent all this time programming the settings, you have to save it into one of your 7 available custom slots. 7. In 2025. Now, let's compare this to the Lumix real-time LUT workflow. With my S9, I can load in up to 39 custom LUTs. That's more than 5 times the capacity of the Fuji. These LUTs can be added to the camera's library in seconds, either through the Lumix Lab smartphone app or by simply dragging the LUT files onto your SD card. Both methods are unbelievably quick and painless. The sheer ease of this process cannot be overstated. But the real magic here, the true paradigm shift, is that using LUT files means you can use your **own* presets inside your camera. Think about that. Any preset you've ever created in Lightroom or Capture One, any look you've spent hours perfecting on your desktop, can be converted into a LUT and loaded directly into your camera. This grants you a universe of flexibility that simply cannot be touched by a finite, baked-in number of usable film simulations. I specifically say usable because, let's be honest, many of Fuji's simulations are an acquired taste. Back when I had my older Fuji bodies, I would almost exclusively use Classic Chrome. The rest of them just didn't do it for me. I am glad to see that in the newer generation cameras, they've added a few more bangers like Really Ace and Nostalgic Negative. But even today, if I'm being critical, I'd say there are only about 4 simulations I would ever actually use. With the Lumix system, I have 39 slots to fill with looks *I* created and already love. And if I happen to love a particular Fuji simulation, chances are I can find a LUT that someone has already made to replicate it, and just load that in. The customization on the Lumix side doesn't stop there. You can add grain, color, noise, and even stack to different LUTs on top of each other for unique combinations. Crucially, you can adjust the intensity of each LUT from 0 to 100, just in case a look is a little too strong for your liking. It is so incredibly flexible, so intuitive, and it makes it so much easier for me to get the exact look I'm after with zero friction. Then there's the user experience of the new XE5 itself, which I found to be oddly convoluted. For example, there are now 4 different, redundant ways to change your film recipe: the dedicated film sim dial on top, the front command dial, the quick menu, or the full main menu. It feels like a design by committee nightmare. And if you want to use one of those custom looks you saved to your 7 precious slots, you have to make sure the top film sim dial is set to C. This tells the camera to prioritize the preset you saved, rather than the simulation showing on the dial. This threw me off completely at first. I was wondering why my custom black and white recipe was showing up as a bizarre, purple-tinged mess on my display. It was a simple error, but one that highlights the intuitive quirks of the system. This brings me to the Lumix Lab app, which has a feature that feels like a direct shot across Fuji's bow. It's called Magic LUT. You can essentially upload your own any photo, from any camera into the app, and it will analyze the color information and generate a new LUT that replicates that style. So, let's say you see a photo someone shot on a Fuji using classic chrome, and you love the tones. You could just take that file, feed it into Lumix Lab, let it generate a LUT, and boom, you now have that simulation loaded into your Lumix. Is it completely perfect every single time? No, of course not. There will be instances where it doesn't work as well. But it's a breathtakingly cool feature that adds so many more layers of creativity to your workflow. It allows you to build a look from an image bank of colors and styles you already admire. And I guess that's the fundamental difference. With a film simulation, you are tweaking a look that Fuji designed. You're changing it to suit your style. With a LUT, you can make the look exactly how you want it on your own computer, and then simply upload that finished vision into your camera. Now, let's talk hardware, because this is where the S9 gets the most criticism. The XE5 has an electronic viewfinder EVF, and the S9 does not. This is, for many, an open and shut case. But let me tell you, having that EVF on the XE5 really doesn't make it a much better shooting experience. To be blunt, the EVF is tiny. It's not very sharp at all. Realistically speaking, I had a much better time just ignoring it and using the back LCD screen. So if we're going to have that argument about EVF versus no EVF, I'd honestly rather not have an EVF at all if the alternative is the one on the XE5. If I'm paying the premium price for an XE5, I expect a much better viewfinder. Speaking of price, that's another major factor. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but the Lumix S9 retails for around £1,000. The Fuji XE5, especially when bundled with the 23mm f2 lens, is somewhere around £1,500. And I have to take a moment to talk about that lens. That 23mm f2 is, in my opinion, total crap. It hunts for focus like crazy. It is loud, clunky, and slow. It is not a good pancake lens, and it feels like a massive area where they cheaped out. From a pure value perspective, the S9 is the clear winner. For significantly less money, you are getting a full-frame sensor, which will give you better low-light performance and that distinct full-frame look with better subject separation. The Fuji is still, after all these years, running on an APS-C sensor. The one area where I will concede the Fuji absolutely wins is in build quality and ergonomics. I must say, holding and using a Fuji camera is, and always has been, a very fun and tactile experience. The S9, by comparison, does feel a bit more plasticky, but I easily get around that by using the small Regal grip on my S9s, which completely transforms the handling. Ultimately, the choice is, of course, down to your personal preference. If you are already sold on the famous Fuji look, and you've seen tons of work shot on Fuji that you absolutely love, then you are naturally going to lean that way. And that is totally fine. But, if you are looking for an alternative one that gives you infinitely more creativity, far more flexibility, and a genuinely easier, faster workflow than this S9, and its real-time LUT system is the newer, more optimized version of that straight-out-of-camera dream. That said, there is something special about those X-Trans sensors. There is something unique about Fuji and their color pipeline. They do color very, very well, and in a way that is different from every other brand out there. But for me, the ability to define my own color, to load my own creative DNA into the camera, is far more powerful. The reign of film recipes as the one true way is over.